Okay, so this is a small but still an important topic. Okay, so the topic is inheritance. It is small, but it is, trust me, it is the most important topic. Like, even if you forget C++, don't forget this topic. It is that important. Okay, so getting started. What is inheritance? Before answering that question, because inheritance word in itself is easy to understand. And inheritance is something which you inherit from someone, right? Like when you inherit your father's property, it is something like it is inheritance, right? So I know that was a bad example, but yes, it made sense. So we use a class, okay? We use a class, and which is known as a base class, to derive a new class. You can call this father class, okay? Yep. Oh, okay. Call it parent class. This is a parent class through which we create a child class. So we use base class. We use a base class to give us derived class. Okay. A base class helps us to derive a class. So the class derived from the base class is called a derived class. Now, before jumping into how does inheritance work, there are types of inheritance. Like, there are five types of inheritance. So we'll start naming and explaining them. So the first type is single inheritance. In single inheritance, there is one base class, and one child class, or one derived class, because that is the word, one derived class. Okay, so to diagrammatically represent it, there is one base class and there is only one derived class. Okay, so the second type of inheritance is multi-level inheritance. Multi-level inheritance. So what is multi-level inheritance? It has one base class. Okay, it has one derived class, but the derived class has another derived class too. So if you look at it, in the first case, this is the base class and this is the derived class. But then this derived class becomes the new base class and it has its own derived class. So this is multi-level inheritance. Now moving on to the third one. Okay. So the third one is multiple inheritance. Okay. Multiple inheritance. So what is multiple inheritance? In multiple inheritance, there are more than one base class. So base 1 class and base 2 class. So we have more than one base class to give us only one derived class. Okay, you can get as many derived classes from it you want, but there will always be more than one base class and a multiple inheritance, in the type of multiple inheritance. Okay, the fourth one is hierarchical inheritance. So in hierarchical inheritance, there is only one base class. Okay, but we have more than one derived class. Cool. Only one base class and more than one derived classes. Now what is this is the last one, okay? This is hybrid inheritance. What is hybrid inheritance? In hybrid inheritance, we use a combination of more than one of these four. That is one, two, three, four types of inheritances. Okay, say for example, I were to use um, multi level inheritance and um, multiple inheritance together. So how will it be? So we'll have first multiple inheritance, which is base class, from which we have our derived class 1, derived 1 class, from which we have our derived 2 class. Okay, so multi-level inheritance is done, but now we have multiple inheritance working side by side. So this is our base 2 class. Now this is, if you divide this, okay, let's divide this. This is multi-level inheritance. See, this was multi-level inheritance, and so is this. If you just ignore this right now, this is multi-level inheritance. But if you were to divide this from here, okay, that is, ignore this. This is multiple inheritance. We have two base classes to give us one derived class. Same like this. Two base classes to give us one derived class. Okay, so this is hybrid inheritance, wherein you have to use more than one type of inheritance to give you the derived class. Now, what is the syntax for this thing? Okay, so syntax for inheritance. So the syntax for inheritance is quite simple if you understand. So first you write the name of the derived class. Before that you use the keyword class. So class is the keyword. Okay, class derived uh, derived class name, and then you write the type, visibility type, and then you write the name of the base class. So name base class. So if this is clear, that is, class is the keyword, you write derived dot class name, that is derived class name, not a dot, derived class name. Just cancel this, I wrote derived twice. So class derived class name, you use colon, visibility, name of the base class. So you'll ask, what is visibility? So visibility is the I'll explain. Okay, visibility is either the class is public, private, or protected. If you don't know protected, it's okay, I'll explain you that in this video. But you want the class to be public, private, or protected. That is what visibility is. If you don't set the visibility, okay, if you don't set the visibility to anything, it will be private. It will automatically become private. I'll show you that too. Okay, if after you're done writing this, you make the brackets, you write this set of code, and you close it. This is the syntax. Now I'll show you an example. Okay, say we have class A. Class A. Class A is our base class. Okay, class A has, let's say for example, in public it has int num, and it has in private it has int uh, int car. Okay, and we have a class B. Now class B is the derived class. So how do you write the derived class? We write the keyword class, okay, then name of the class, which is B, colon, and visibility. We want this class to be, say for example, public, and then you write the name of the base class, which is A. You open the brackets for this and you write the line of code. Now if I were to not put public over here, okay, public over here, what will happen is it will automatically set this to private. The class will become private and it will become inaccessible by any other class if you use inheritance then. Okay, so now you'll ask, what does inheritance do, right? Inheritance will copy this set of instructions into this. Okay, all the data members and all the functions in this will get copied in this. That is, we're reusing this code instead of typing it out again. Okay, so what all do we get? We get only int num over here. Int num, that is the only thing we got over here. You'll ask, why didn't we get int car, right? Int car was not passed on because it was private. Understood? But I still have to explain you protected, so I'll write another code which will help you understand protected. So before understanding protected, you need to understand, okay, I'll explain you directly. This is a class, let's call it A again. Okay, it has public. Under public it has int x. Okay, it has protected. Under protected it has int y, and then it has private. Under private there is int z. Okay, so you know public is anything you can access inside the class and even outside the class. So anything saved under public can be accessed even outside the class, like the code outside the class can access this data. Private is where the data in this can be accessed only inside the class. Like anything outside the class cannot access in Z, right? So what is protected? Protected is combination of these two. Protected is when it cannot be accessed outside the class. Like any code outside the class cannot access int y, but it can be passed on in inheritance. Okay, unlike private, which does not get passed on in inheritance, protected can be passed in inheritance. So now if I were to create the derived class of this, class B colon, let's give it public and the base class is A. So okay, let's make this protected for change. So what all gets passed over here is we get int x, we get int y, but we do not get int z. Even if this was protected, we did not get int z. Even if this becomes private, we do not get int z. This has no relation with this if you are thinking. Okay, so private always stays within the class. So if that is understood, we'll move on to another example wherein you will understand inheritance better. Let's say we have a class called car. Okay, so the things which are common in most cars is let's say brand. Okay, brand is common, color is common. Like brand is common in the sense every car has a brand, every car has a color, But the thing which can be different in the car is, okay, sorry, let's change this. Let's make it a vehicle, which will explain this code better. Okay, so brand is common in vehicle, like every vehicle has a brand, every vehicle has a color. Okay, so there it is, and we'll make, say for example, some code or some function which void price. Every vehicle has a price, so void price, and uh, void weight. Each vehicle has a weight too. Okay, that being done, now what types of vehicle do exist? We have class car, we have class bike, we have a class truck. Okay, so these classes are the derived classes now. Okay, these are all derived. So not only does not only do these classes get all of these four, it is not visible. Okay, you just have to know that these four things were passed on to this. It will not display in the code, but the additional features, additional line of codes which you write is unique to each one of them. Okay, so for example, in class car we can write number of seats. Okay, number of seats, which will be unique to this. No other class has this. So number of seats is an additional unique feature of this class car. In class bike we can have uh, wheel size. Okay, wheel size is unique to this class bike and no other one has it. And in class truck we can say length of truck. Okay, so length of truck is only unique to this class truck and no other class, not even the base class, will have it. But all of these three classes will have these two data members and two functions. So if that is understood, if you diagrammatically represent it, it was class vehicle which has three derived classes. The first being car, second being bike, and the third being truck. Now we studied our types of inheritances before, so this one is which type of inheritance? This one is hierarch. Wait, yeah. So this one is hierarchical inheritance. So that is it. Inheritance is understood. If you want, I'll send a PDF of the sample code, or I'll send you experiment 7. Okay, so this is inheritance: single, multiple, multi-level, multiple, hierarchical, hybrid, syntax of inheritance, examples. That is it. That is inheritance.